in Provincetown.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown. This week featuring Wake Up, Wake Up. Can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Make it strong, please. Hey. Oh. Hey. Wake up, wake up. Oh. No, really, can I have some coffee? Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up.
What? Good morning, everybody. It's October 25th. This is Wake Up in Provincetown. Thank you for joining us. We have a jam-packed show for you today. We really got to get the ball rolling. There's a lot to talk about. We have a lot of guests. This is a very important show today. How was your week?
It was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What did you do?
What did I do? Friday night, I actually had to, this is like the least entertaining story to start with. But let's talk about Halloween first. This is not Halloween weekend. I know there's a lot of people asking about it on Community Space, which weekend Provincetown will be celebrating Halloween. And I did see some events were happening this upcoming weekend, Halloween style, but I think the majority are next weekend.
Yes.
Did you decide on a costume?
I have like 5.
Oh, work.
Because, I mean, I have
Do they exist up here or do they exist in real life?
in real life.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's impressive.
I know. Thank you.
Because you know Amazon around these times, like things aren't going to come fast.
Amazon. How about Temu? Have you ever ordered anything off of Temu?
No.
I was so afraid that the thing from Temu wasn't going to arrive on time that I ordered it a second time from a different place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have 2 of something that I don't need 2 of, but that's okay. And the Temu one did arrive already.
Is Temu the one where it's literally just like a shipping company that ships you garbage and they get the money for shipping it, and that's...
I don't know. It seemed like it was coming from China or something.
Okay.
Well, like when you're tracking it, it goes, it's going through customs now. I was like, why do I need a white sweater to go through customs?
White sweater. What are you gonna be?
Well, if you come to my show on Monday at the Post Office Cabaret, you will see.
Is it Halloween themed?
Well, the opening number is, yeah.
So Halloween begins on Monday here in PJ.
Halloween begins on Monday. We get 7 whole days of Halloween. Halloween does not end until Sunday of Spooky Bear, November 3rd.
I'm already tired.
So I have costumes for the Monday show. I have costumes for actual Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I have a costume for the Wednesday Space Pussy concert.
What are you singing?
Union of the Snake by Duran Duran. And
Are you gonna be Medusa?
maybe.
Ooh.
And I have Eve. Oh, I get it.
Britney Spears as Eve as Britney Spears.
Ooh, I should have done that. It's too late for me to order that off the internet.
You never
now.
know. Temu can get it too.
No, don't. It takes a while. But then there's also Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. So, you have to have like 6 costumes.
That is true.
7 whole days, Monday through Sunday.
I'm gonna have to get an Amazon order in or stop by House of LaRue
Mm-hmm.
or Wardrobe.
What's happening at Wardrobe?
Wardrobe and House of LaRue are both selling Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
Pete,
What's the benefit?
the Wardrobe is a benefit costume sale for
The Provincetown Theater Company.
Provincetown Theater Company. I got
That's
you.
what PTC means.
I got you.
So the Provincetown Theater is selling costumes at Wardrobe, costumes that they've used in shows. So
Oh, that's awesome.
There's stuff from like the most recent production of Rocky Horror.
You could dress up as me as a 19-year-old from last summer.
What was your costume?
It was just khakis and a blue polo shirt. It was basically the what's that Ben Platt show with the what is it?
Evan Hansen.
Yeah, it's basically the Dear Evan Hansen costume, but without the cast. So if you want to be Dear Evan Hansen for Halloween, you just need a cast, and then you can buy my costume from last year.
That wasn't stuff that you owned.
No.
That was a costume.
Yeah.
And the theater still has it.
Mhm.
And they might be selling it at Wardrobe this weekend.
I wonder if they're selling the headless baby doll version of me.
What does that mean?
Did you see the Fantastics?
Yeah. I don't remember a headless baby doll.
Don't you remember the scene where I like had my head up and then like my body was like little? And
Oh,
things were
yeah.
happening to me? Yeah. It was fun. But stop by Wardrobe, check it out. They're actually a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, to sell old costumes.
Yes.
Yeah, you could go Sweeney Todd. Who knows what
You
they
don't have any costumes yet?
Girl, I have a
For the
box of
week of
costumes.
Halloween?
I got plenty of stuff. I'm gonna be a cow again, which is so fitting, right, Paul? I'm just kidding.
Harrison, what's with the smirk?
Maybe I'll be an avocado. I sent you that costume.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That was cute. Adorable. Be an avocado. Did you see this?
Yeah,
it's like a
it's-
cutout, and then the guy's belly is the
Yeah.
pit of the avocado.
which would be so right for me, right, Paul?
Yay, engagement with the audience.
Exactly.
Engage.
But last Friday night, I actually drove to Hyannis to save my friend. They were in Hyannis, their car broke down. So I drove and picked them up, and they took me to the Olive Garden.
Oh, you
He's
love
like,
the
feel
Olive
free.
Garden.
I know it's a lot, but I don't know. We could like go to Target and like go to the Olive Garden. I'm like, sold.
What happened to their car? Are
They broke
okay?
down. Yeah, it just broke down. It was Peter Toto.
Oh no.
So it was fun. It was cute. I guess like touch goop at Sephora.
Did he Toto his car?
Oh Jesus. We're not doing that.
No. But last weekend was a big birthday weekend. Friday was Brittany's. We didn't call her, and I ran into her later that day. I was like, "Oh, I gave you a shout out today. We didn't call you because I knew you wouldn't be up." She's like, "Girl, I just woke up."
I saw her yesterday, and she said I was not awake when you were doing that.
But it was also Britta's birthday on Sunday, as well as mine and Joe's birthday on Monday. So like the trivia staff is Chris Spalding, who runs tech, me and Evan on hosting, and then Britta and Joe behind the bar. So out of the five of us, it was 3 of our birthdays that day. So we had like a big, yeah.
It was a birthday party.
Exactly. We got a cake. It was really cute. All our rounds are about Libras. Yeah. And mine was about 21 because it was the 21st.
Oh.
And I had already written that round.
Yep.
But I wrote it for New Year's 2021 and
Mhm.
haven't used it since. So I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't remember the questions. I don't know how anyone else would. I also went to Oyster Fest this past weekend. Did you make it?
I went on Sunday.
I went on Saturday.
Was it so busy?
No, it wasn't so bad.
Saturday's usually busier. That's why I like to go on Sunday.
That surprised me because I heard all the townies go on Sunday.
Yes.
And also it's the shucking final, which I feel like would attract more people.
It was super busy, and it was hot.
Yeah.
It was like 75 degrees. So
I-
right-
Well, I wore a sweatshirt, and right before I left, I was like, I should put a t-shirt on underneath this. And thank God I did. I was with Brittany, and she just had like this like wool sweater on with nothing underneath it. And she's like,
Poor thing.
yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I had a blast. I wish it was bigger.
What do you mean?
The space.
Oh, the area where it happens?
Yeah. I feel like they've kind of outgrown the amount of people who are now coming. It's the biggest oyster shucking competition in the world.
It is?
Yeah.
Also, though, the one year that they moved it to a giant field,
Mhm.
no one liked it.
Well, yeah, I understand the what's the word? The obstacles. Like you want to keep it that kind of hometowny. You're on a street,
hmm
but I wish it was bigger. You know.
It has grown to a huge festival.
Mhm.
Happy Straight Pride to everyone who celebrates. I don't know who started calling it Straight Pride, but it really feels like that's what you're
Yeah.
going, like a straight pride parade.
I felt like a gay person when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see other people from Provincetown, you're like, oh my God, there's like 4 of us,
You're
and
like,
there's 900
hey.
people. And there's like 4 gays in the whole thing.
Yeah. But I had a ton of fun. I guess I just wish it was bigger because I think I would love for there to be double the amount of food vendors, double the amount of beer vendors, because they ran it really well and it was really great, but lines were long.
I have to say, I had one of the best lobster rolls I've ever had. So there's a giant tent with like 15 different food places.
15 giant.
Yes. And you could get 10 different lobster rolls if you really wanted to. I chose PJ's, PJ's, which is out on the highway in Wellfleet. And it was amazing. It was a $25 lobster roll.
That's not
And you're
bad.
sharing these high top tables with strangers. And this woman walked up with one that was like slightly larger than mine. And I was like, how much was that? She goes, 38. And I was like, what the I was like, girl, you got robbed. This is from PJ's and it was only $25.
Work. That's
I know.
awesome.
Yeah.
I ended up getting Kung Fu dumplings.
At the Oyster Festival?
because it was the shortest line, and it was delicious and amazing. But obviously you can get that here, and I felt like I was like, why am I eating dumplings at Oyster Fest? But it was awesome. It was great.
Were they oyster dumplings?
No,
Oh.
I did have a bunch of oysters.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I had 2.
That's not enough for Oyster Fest.
That's as many as I want.
Okay. I also saw Jen White.
Mhm.
I got a candle from her. Actually, I bought me, Britta, and Brittany all birthday candles.
Oh.
Yeah, I have some stats. So there were 20,000 attendees over the 2 days.
Mhm.
70,000 oysters were sold. So you were under average.
Yes. Some
Um,
years I don't have any oysters. I have 3 different clam chowders and then go home.
That's
But it was too hot for chowder this year.
Chowder Fest? Should
Yeah.
you start Chowder
Oh
Fest?
man, listen, I would crush Chowder Fest. Doesn't that sound great? Let's
That
do a Chowder
does.
Fest.
3.57 tons of oyster shells were recycled.
Mhm.
I was bad and threw my plate of oysters in the trash before I realized they were recycling oyster shells,
Mhm.
which is a bummer. There was also an auction because it said it takes about $300,000 to throw the event.
Mhm.
And 2 interesting items. There were 2 lobsters, both 10 and 12 pounds, that were auctioned off for $1,400.
I was there for that. That happened on Sunday. So they hold up these 2 lobsters and they're like, together, these lobsters are 23
How
pounds.
big is that?
They were pretty big.
Mhm.
I was pretty far from the stage, but they looked like they were like,
I thought
this.
they weren't allowed to catch those.
yeah, you can.
I thought if their tail was longer than 6 inches, you had to throw them back because they were like big, beefy breeders.
Oh, I don't know that.
No,
Well, I mean, they put them back anyway. Whoever won the
Yeah.
auction
he
released
did
them.
pledge
into
to
the water.
release them. $1,800 for a 20-ounce oyster.
Uh-huh. No, the person who ends up eating the largest oyster at the festival, it's gross to watch.
Yeah, that's a fork and knife job.
It's a put it in soup and chop it up and make it not look like one big thing anymore.
That actually reminds me. This is completely unrelated, but I saw a Patti LuPone quote this past week, and it says, "You should sing when you sing. The amount of air coming out of your throat should be enough to throw peanut butter from your throat across the room."
Wow.
And she said, "So if you ever see me choking on peanut butter, let me die, because the Patti LuPone you know and love is already dead."
Oh my god.
Anyway, back to Oyster Fest. So the shucking competition at Oyster Fest is the largest shucking competition in the world.
Mhm.
So 25 people competed in the contest. So you get 26 oysters, and you get to eliminate 2, which I'm guessing is like ones that look hard to shuck.
Mhm.
Then they time it to shuck the 24 oysters. Then the judging panel, head judge John Baby, they judge penalties for broken shells, not fully, if they're not fully detached from the shell, and also the presence of blood. Which,
Like if you cut yourself.
yeah, exactly. The winner this year was Chris Minocchio from Toronto. Local favorite and winner of last year, Ben Morgan, got 3rd place.
Yeah, so when the final 3 were up there,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, there's Ben. He won last year. Hometown favorite. And I was like, but I'm kind of in the mood for an upset, and I think I jinxed him.
Yeah.
When he finished 3rd, I was like, I figured if he lost, he would get 2nd.
Well, 3rd is great.
Plummeted to 3rd. 3rd is plummeted.
That's bronze. You get a trophy.
But then the guy who won was like, just so everyone knows, I've never lost an oyster shucking contest. And I was like, you don't have to act like that. You just won. We know. You don't have to rub it in the guy's face.
I think that's something to be proud of.
The braggadocio was a bit much for me.
I wonder why there aren't more P-Town oyster shuckers, because let's get Sean up there.
No,
He can
Sean was like, I can do it takes me 2 minutes to do 12.
Oh.
And these people are doing twice that in 2 minutes. Yeah, Sean is not competitive. Sean is good for restaurant business. I mean, these people, if you were working with them, you'd be like, wow.
Oh, yeah. I worked with a woman in Boston at Boston Chops who I was like, you have to do competitions.
Yeah.
Because she would do 1 every 2 seconds. It was wild.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Her name was Pikachu.
Her name was not Pikachu.
That's what we called her.
Okay. That's different than it actually being her name.
Well, she started at the restaurant and she's like, oh, my name is Pikachu. And we were all like, what? And she's like, that's what everyone's called me in every restaurant I've ever worked in. It's like, okay,
All right.
get a girl. What else happened this week? Oh, Sunday night, I got together a viewing party for Game 5 of the WNBA Finals.
Here?
Yes, it was awesome. It was me at the first half of the game. It was me and about 30 women, which I loved. Like that's perfect for me. And then about halfway through, 2 hot guys showed up, and I was like, you know what? This is actually perfect. 30 women, 2 hot guys. That's the perfect ratio. But it was so much fun. The New York Liberty did win. It was a contentious game. Both teams were shooting really poorly, which is a bummer because I knew a lot of eyes were going to be on the game, so I really wanted them both to look good. And it was not without its scandal. The coach of the Minnesota Lynx at the press conference after said that shit was robbed from us. There was a bad call. It's like one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
What was the final score?
I think it was 88-82 or something like that. They did go to overtime. The bad call led to Breanna Stewart taking 2 free throws to tie it and go into overtime. And they even reviewed it, and it takes them about 2 minutes to review it. Obviously we're watching it. They're playing it over and over again. And we're like, oh, that's not a foul. And it was a rather egregious travel. And then they came out and they were like, decision stands. And we were all like, what?
Are we looking at the same thing?
Yeah, but as much as like that might not have been the best ending to the game, I am happy that the New York Liberty won. The New York Liberty in 2019 was playing up about an hour and a half upstate of New York City to a crowd of maybe 1,500. And then what was her name? Clara Wu-Tsai, who was married to the man who bought the New York Nets as well as the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. She decided to buy the New York Liberty, move them to Brooklyn, invest a ton of money, a huge marketing team into it. She did a bunch of scouting to get Sabrina Ionescu, which is the #1 draft pick in 2020. Breanna Stewart, John Cole Jones, who ended up being the MVP. So I think it's a good representation of like investing money in women's sports. People want to see it. People want it to be exciting. And I think it's a success story.
Good.
Yeah.
And Ellie the elephant.
Ellie the elephant, my girl.
What was how many people watched it?
18,000 people in the arena. It's the largest crowd of any women's basketball game ever.
Ever.
Yeah. Really exciting.
And now the season is over.
Season is over.
But you're going to talk about it next week anyway.
Well, yeah, there's the expansion draft in a couple of weeks. So there's a brand new team coming to San Francisco and the Bay Area called the Golden State Valkyries. And that's a new team we're getting this year. And then 2 new teams in the next couple of years.
That sounds like a cool mascot.
Yeah, the Valkyries.
Valkyrie.
And the color is, they're black and purple.
It's
cute.
Halloween-y.
Yeah. And then don't worry, college basketball starts right after that.
You're not here next week. No,
I'm
you're
here.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here.
I know, but that means whoever's sitting here probably won't talk about basketball.
I'll make them. No, there probably won't be any news this week. What else did I get up to? Did you do anything else this week?
No, just Oyster Fest. I've been recovering from Oyster Fest ever since Sunday.
Too many beers?
Takes a lot out of me. No, just not enough oysters.
Only 2.
No.
Also this past week, Out Magazine released the Out 100, which is their annual listing of 100 queer people to celebrate over the year. Cynthia Erivo's on the cover. She's about to star in Wicked, the movie, which is coming out in just a few weeks.
Margaret Cho.
Yeah. There's tons of Provincetown favorites and also some Provincetown locals. Varla Jean Merman is in there. Yeah. Well deserved. Also Esra Tuolo, who has spent summers in Provincetown performing, and kind of like Provincetown people who visit a lot, which is Patty Gonia, who was in town this past year for Carnival, Nina West, who's always in town, not the woman who helps at the oyster shucking competition, but the drag queen. And it was fun. I was with a little crew of P-Town people, and we were like, Nina! And she's like, but also Rachel Maddow and Mark Cortali's in there as well.
Wow. And Katie O'Brien, not the Katie O'Brien that I work with at the Red Inn, but a different one whose Instagram handle is the KDO.
Wow.
Don't tell my KDO that you're the KDO.
But Cynthia Mixon.
Oh my goodness.
All P-Town favorites.
Yeah. Pick a copy of this up.
I feel like there was something else I was supposed to talk about.
Probably. Oh God.
No, I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay, good.
Early voting has begun. I'm sure we're going to talk about this because we do have Julian and Kevin on today. But there are 8 more days of early voting between Thursday, yesterday, and Friday, November 1st. So you can vote today as well as all next week. Voting hours are at Town Hall from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on most weekdays and 9 a.m. to 11 on Fridays. Oh, you can even do it on Saturday. 9 a.m. to 5 on Saturday.
I saw a lot of stickers on Commercial Street yesterday. I voted.
Yeah. And also, if you're a Massachusetts resident and you're like thinking like, oh, the ship has sailed for me to vote, you can still vote up till, I mean, you can still register to vote up until Saturday, October 26th.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's tomorrow. Also, my obligatory plea, no on 5.
Yes.
Vote no.
Yes on
no, don't say yes. No on 5. Okay, now you may speak.
Yes on everything else?
Well,
I haven't done, I'm going to vote sometime next week, and I haven't done my real big deep dive, but that seems to be what people are saying.
yes on everything but 5?
Yeah.
Well, I know. So question 2 is about the MCAS requirement in schools. MCAS is a test that currently is required. You have to pass it to graduate high school in Massachusetts. And I have a lot of teacher friends here, and I thought that they were all a yes on 2. And then some of my teacher friends were like, no, actually, no. So not even all of the teachers are in agreement over that one.
Okay.
But my personal feeling about it is I like, say you're great at all of your classes all year long, and then you don't pass this one test. Isn't that kind of crazy? Like, some people are just not great test takers.
That's true.
Like, despite like incredible intelligence and acumen in many other areas, they're just not great test takers. I don't think you should hold that against them.
Right.
So I'm a yes on 2, personally.
I don't remember taking any sort of tests like that. I grew up in Connecticut, but I don't remember having big standardized tests.
I think they introduced it in sometime in the 80s or 90s.
Okay.
So it hasn't been around forever. I don't know how long it's been a requirement to pass it to graduate, but saying yes on 2 will make it so that they're still going to administer the test, but you won't need it to graduate.
I see.
Which sounds fair to me.
I think it's 4 is legalizing psychedelics, which I think is great.
So not just yes on 4, but yes on 4.
And it is mostly for therapeutic treatment, which I know is kind of a burgeoning idea, but I think that's exciting, and I think it should be studied more.
And I think everybody needs therapy.
Is it? Yes.
We would all benefit from some therapy, right?
Yeah.
We're all in agreement on that.
Speaking of therapy.
Speaking of
Oh, yeah. Let's head over to Ann Hutchinson with the traffic.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching the traffic report out here in Provincetown, Massachusetts. It's me, the lady of the street herself, Ann Hutchinson. And as traffic begins to dwindle out here in Provincetown, I would like to discuss a deep truth that we all know about traffic, which is that sometimes people drive the same car. Maybe one of those cars has a little less mileage on it, but they still have the same transmission. Maybe one of those cars is parked in a garage while the other's parked on a street, but they still have the same frame. Maybe one of those cars has a fake English accent and the other one wears a wig. But that does not mean that they don't do the exact same thing. So I do not understand why the Red Room has decided to have this bitch, Lucinda Lippold, do stand-up comedy now on their stage instead of me. Her next show is Halloween night at 7 p.m. and I don't want any of you to fucking go.
Ann. Thank you, Ann.
And other big political news is there are rumors that Beyonce will be joining Kamala Harris in a rally in Texas, which I think is so exciting. And first of all, just the fact that Kamala Harris is taking a rally to Texas is such a huge sign that the Democratic Party is really shooting big and thinking that they have a chance in Texas, which I think is so great. And even if Kamala doesn't manage to take Texas, if she can be there and put some energy into the Democratic ticket and maybe get Ted Cruz to lose, that would be fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Kamala Harris has already been using Beyonce's song's Freedom as her campaign song.
Ethan says one of her very best songs.
That's very true. But I think this is really exciting. I know a lot of us are feeling weird about going into the election.
I'm scared.
Yeah, I know. There are so many things that I'm like are allowing me to feel a little like relieved, like things look good, but like I think we all had PTSD after the 2016 election when we didn't even know that we shouldn't have been sure. And now we're like, sure, but I'm like, but we shouldn't be.
No, you can't be sure.
Yeah. But also, like, go vote. Ask your friends if they're voting. You still have time if you live in Massachusetts to ask your friends if they're registered to vote. Ask them when they're planning on voting. Because really what it is getting, it's getting more people to vote is what is going to help in this election, more so than trying to convince people to vote one way or the other.
And it is young Ethan's first presidential election. Aren't you excited to vote? Are you going to vote early, or are you going to wait till election day? Yeah.
People always say that like the younger generation doesn't come out to vote, they're not engaged, but like you look, like anyone 30 and under has only experienced elections with Trump as a nominee.
Oh,
like that's terrible and disheartening. And obviously if people they're like, well, how does that affect them? It's also like they're kind of being told like, oh, it doesn't matter what you actually think about these candidates, just vote for this person because that person's garbage. And I'm, as much as like, yes, that's true, it isn't exactly the most engaging thing for young people and young voters.
well, I can't wait to hear what Julian and Kevin have to say about this.
Yeah,
Because, well, this is the thing, Ethan, for people that have only experienced elections where Trump was one of the people running, it didn't used to be them like calling each other morons on stage.
Mhm.
Like the rhetoric and the speech that is now sort of commonplace was shocking at first.
yeah.
Like he didn't even really act like this against Hillary. Like it's only gotten
No.
worse and worse and worse and worse.
The Kamala Harris campaign just released a commercial, I guess, and it's just all it is side by side of Trump from the 2016 election to Trump from this election.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's terrifying.
Mhm.
Yeah. Please go out and vote.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And not just for president. There's a lot of
Oh yeah.
yes.
Please be informed. Down ballot races are just as important as the presidential election,
Absolutely.
especially when you live on the Outer Cape.
Mhm.
There's one more point I wanted to make. Oh yeah, someone commented on the video last week. Remember we were saying we were getting a lot of comments that don't pass the vibe check. This one wasn't about my gut. It was about this one was about someone commented about Bob not knowing how to work a car. And then was like, oh, but don't hate me for liking Trump.
Yeah, so the seats go up and down. Please don't hate me for liking Trump.
Which is, yeah, which
Girl, what?
is like worrisome to me because like, I feel like if we have people watching and enjoying this show who like Trump.
Listen, I don't hate anybody for liking Donald Trump. Like whoever you want, whatever. But I know how to use a car seat. It didn't go, I moved it all the way down and my head was still almost touching the ceiling of that Mazda, okay?
a Mazda. You look at a Mazda.
Yes, I looked at a
I like
Mazda. They're
Mazdas.
fierce,
They
smart.
really are.
They're really cute and sporty. And the interiors are so luxurious.
I mean, I said
this
this
is now a Mazda commercial.
I said this last week, and I'm like, I don't want to piss people off, but I also kind of don't care if this does piss people off. I feel like if you support Trump and the ideals that he stands for and work he has done in the past and the work he is promising to do if he wins, I feel like there's really only three options of what you can be. You're either already wealthy and extra greedy and lack empathy, or you are racist, or you are a dumb person. And I don't think there are any other options that you can be and still like Trump.
What about lifelong Republicans that don't like Trump but would never vote any other way? I do know people like
Dumb.
that. No.
Like,
No.
I stand by what I said.
That's fine. You always do.
Yeah.
Even when what? Hmm?
You're voting for JD.
You're
Vance.
voting for Project 2025. You're voting for JD Vance. It's scary, and if you're not scared, you should be.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's.
And now,
Don't worry, we're going to talk more about politics later on. Let's head over to my good friend, Jonathan Joseph Peters, aka Vivienne Fontaine. I stopped by Dune, their shop over on Commercial Street by Joe Coffee, to see what they've got going on. Check this out.
Good morning, everyone. We are here at Dune with the incredible Vivienne Fontaine. Thanks for letting us into your beautiful store.
Thank you for visiting.
Oh my god, of course. You know I've been swinging it all summer looking at the beautiful stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So much to look at.
So much. You've literally had the busiest summer ever.
Yes.
You opened this amazing store. Tell us a little about what was the inception, what made you want to bring this to Provincetown.
Sure. So previously I owned a boutique a little bit similar to Dune, but in Providence, Rhode Island. Over the years, as a designer and a maker, I've kind of collected all of these really cool, amazing friends who make cool things. So we previously owned a boutique in Providence called Nude. And so when this space became available, it's so cool, so tiny.
Backwards?
Yeah.
No way.
Dune is nude. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
We spell it a little differently, but the name Dune came from nude. We have our friends and we sell the things they make, which is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Everything from fine art to candles to jewelry to clothing. So that's what it is. It's kind of a cool little shop for me to sell my friends cool stuff.
Well, you also sell some of your stuff in the shop
Absolutely,
as well.
absolutely, yeah. We sell one-of-a-kind clothing. We sell, I do some custom clothing for some of the performers in town, and we do alterations. I sell some of my jewelry, so yeah, it's
That's
a bunch
where
of
I
us,
feel-
including me.
That's where I feel like I see you getting mentioned the most, and people are like, I need pants hemmed. So
Yes, Provincetown Community Space. I'm very popular with the people who need
Right.
pants hems in Provincetown Community Space.
Right.
There's nobody else in town who's really doing it right now, so we get a little inundated, but we're happy to serve the community in that way.
Totally. And besides your store, you were in drag 800 nights this summer.
Yes, I was in drag an average of 5 to 6 dates a week. 4 nights with you in Devil Wears Payless. I played Emily Charlton to
I
your
sure-
Nigel Kipling.
I showed up, put glasses and chapstick on, and you were.
And I was like, I've been doing this for hours. Yeah, exactly.
repowdering.
Just batting, repowdering. And then one night a week, I would typically perform in Showgirls. And then I have my show, Summer Camp, which happens in the Post Office Cafe downstairs. A little free show that we put on, a little variety show.
Cool. That's going to continue potentially through Halloween, potentially a little farther if everyone goes.
Yes, we are definitely on Spooky Bear Weekend, 11/2. We're doing Halloween downstairs in the cafe, so we're gonna do classic TV themed Halloween. I Dream of Halloweeny,
Okay.
and then
Who are you gonna
be? Lucille Ball, of course. Durr.
Got the wig on now.
Yeah, I'm dressed. I'm ready. And then Saturday, we're gonna do like a horror movie special where we'll do all horror movie themed. Come dressed as your special favorite slashers and all of that. You know, we do numbers, we sing. Liza Lott is going to be there with us on Halloween night. So
amazing.
she sings live, we lip sync, we do a bunch of
You
dumb
sing live?
games. I sing, yeah, sure. I sing live, I sing dead, I sing however you want.
She sounds just like Celine Dion. Exactly.
Exactly.
It's
I look like Adele and sing like Celine Dion. There you go, 2 for 1.
Oh my god. What else do you have coming up soon?
That's
Anything?
really it. It's really Halloween at Post Office Cafe, downstairs in the cafe. It's Sleepaway Camp, which is summer camp for Spooky Bear Weekend, which will be on Saturday, November 2nd.
I get it.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. You can put on that big old breastplate and come and just bounce around a little bit and run away from the killer. And then the shop will stay open definitely on weekends throughout the rest of the year. We are going to have Dune here next season as well. So
Work.
if you need alterations, everyone does, or you want some cool handmade stuff,
Yeah.
that's what we'll be.
We're also going to Vegas.
And we're going to Vegas. We're going on tour with The Devil Wears Payless.
Yes.
Yeah, November 21st to the 23rd at the Majestic Repertory Theater in Vegas. We have 4 shows over 3 nights, 1 week, in and out,
Damn.
before we go to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, we're gonna be in Fort Lauderdale, and then maybe other places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, tour.
I can't wait to get in drag together every night this
Oh,
winter.
girl. Seriously.
Thanks for chatting with me.
You're welcome.
I'll see
Thank you for
soon.
coming.
Of course.
Thank you, Sean, for that informative weather report.
That wasn't weather. That was Vivienne.
Thank you, Vivienne, for that informative Vivienne report.
Yeah. Come see us on tour and stop by Dune. It's going to be open on weekends going forward. Saturday nights is summer camp over at the post office. It's tons of fun.
Please welcome back to the show our friend Senator Julian Sear.
It's good to be back.
It's
I don't
been
think we've
so
done
long.
this in like a year.
You
or
used to be
two.
on like every other week.
I used to be. If I wasn't on, I would be mentioned every single show.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope that tradition is continued.
No.
But no, it's been so cool to see. Actually, I
OG
noticed your new
Out
laptop,
100.
and you don't have a Julian Sears laptop.
You-
I'm gonna have to. I actually was rummaging in my car looking for a sticker, and I need to find it for you.
I have a pin in my car.
Okay, good. But it's been really cool to see this. I mean, I remember when y'all started this in 2000, and this is now like a professional operation here. And anyway, it's just great to see it, and a real, I think, community service. I think folks also just like love hearing about what it's like to make a life here on the Outer Cape, which we all do.
And it's not easy.
Oh, it is not easy, and it's gotten harder and harder, right? And I think y'all do a really good job talking about those challenges, right? And first and foremost of that has been housing. So I don't know. We want to talk like policy and politics. We want to talk elections. We want to talk about costumes. Every 2 years, it's an election season, and like Get Out the Vote weekend runs smack into the middle of Halloween and Spooky Bear, and it's a scheduling nightmare for me. And
You should go as a Julian Sear canvasser.
I mean usually I do usually do what you do, which is like go into the large family like drag and costume bin and pull things out. But yeah, this is intense this year, right? Because we've got
The
Space
election's
Pussy
right
on Wednesday,
Right.
The Halloween on Thursday, then like 3 days of Spooky Bear.
Pace
There's
yourself.
far too many men in town that weekend that I have had interest in. So it's just plus we're out knocking doors. More importantly, knocking doors in Hyannis and Marston's Mills and Yarmouth, getting out the vote because of election day on November 5th.
Right.
So
How are you feeling about the election? Yours.
my election, look, this is my 5th time running for office. I used to be the new guy. I'm still sort of the young guy.
It's P-Town.
And we've just worked really hard here. And yes, it's P-Town, and I think it's easy to be here and think that the Cape Cod and the world may revolve around Provincetown. But no, I mean, the Cape and Islands district is 180,000 people. The town of Barnstable is 45,000 people. Yarmouth is 23,000. And so, look, I am so proud to live in Provincetown, to be from the Outer Cape, but I work hard representing the whole region. So we're just out there talking about the work that we've been doing. And I was elected to office in 2016, the same time Donald Trump was. And we've really just focused on delivering for Cape Codders and Islanders, housing, wastewater, key access to healthcare protection, civil rights. On the housing front, we've really, we've been talking about and living this issue, right? I mean, I think especially, Bob, I'm very envious of the home that you and Peter were able to buy. But if you're in my boat or Harrison's boat, right, where effectively it's almost impossible to be able to hope to be able to afford.
I feel like Bob was like, what's the phrase? Like last train out.
Yeah. And so, notwithstanding a little bit of my jealousy and resentment, I've been harnessing that right into really good public policy. And so we passed. Governor Healy filed an Affordable Homes Act, which we worked bringing the governor, the lieutenant governor here to Provincetown, to Martha's Vineyard, to Nantucket, and got her on board with this idea of saying, we need special tools to solve this problem here. That took the form of the seasonal communities designation, championed by the governor, supported by the House. Shout out to Sarah Peak, who just has been a tremendous partner to me, certainly in all these 8 years doing this. Now we've got her in the governor's office. It's fabulous. And then in the Senate, we really expanded the seasonal communities designation, and it is a big, big deal. Policies the town of Provincetown have requested, like a year-round deed restriction, year-round housing trust, right? The mechanisms and the policies by which we can subsidize housing for year-round working people. That is now law, thanks to Cape Codders and Islanders, and especially us here on the Outer Cape, really weighing in so strongly about the tools that we need. So we still have work to do. We need to get a transfer fee on real estate transactions, on luxury real estate transactions. So working to get that next session on housing. We've done a tremendous amount of wastewater, created a fund that's generated $204 million in other people's money, $204 million in other people's money to subsidize wastewater projects in the region. And then working on a whole host of health equity issues. I'm so proud to have brought, helped bring abortion back to the region as part of the team that restored abortion access in Hyannis, brought abortion services to the island for the first time. And then really just standing up for the community, right? I'm so proud to be here for Trans Week and be on the show with the folks who've kept this longest running week here in Provincetown going.
50th year.
50 this thing. And we've really not been resting on our laurels when it comes to LGBTQ equity. Right after the wake of the Dobbs decision, when it was even before it was announced, when it was leaked, I led the way with my colleagues in the Senate to pass the SHIELD law, which provides protections for abortion care. But we also did, as an innovation here in Massachusetts, to say, hey, look, gender affirming care is under the same assault, same attack as abortion access, right? And so our law in Massachusetts that I helped write protects access to abortion and gender affirming care. Access to those services is a right protected by our Constitution. It is a big, big, big deal, right? So we're not resting on our laurels. We are doing everything we can to ensure that our rights and privileges, right, are preserved. The revolution started here in Massachusetts, and no matter what happens in November, on November 5th, right, we're going to be, well, I should say November 6th or 7th or 8th, because I think folks need to realize we're not going to have an announcement on this election, right, at 10 p.m., right? This is going to be probably several days, but we're ready here in Massachusetts, and we're doing everything we can to protect our values.
Are there any of the questions that you're really passionate about that you wanted to speak on?
So there's a whole host of questions out there. I'm not sort of extra passionate about sort of one or the other of them. I think many of them make sense. I think question 5 is a hard question. I think a lot of folks I know are not going to be supporting that one. Also, folks should pay attention to question 7. This was a ballot initiative that was just put here in the 4th Barnstable district. A yes vote for this is a yes for climate change. A no vote here for this is a vote really against us tackling climate change. So I think voting yes on question 7 is important, but really asking folks to not only vote, but to make a plan to vote, right? It's Ethan's first presidential election, right? And often you say to folks, oh, hey, Ethan, you're going to vote. Ethan's like, yeah, I'm going to vote. But if I say, hey, what's your plan to vote? Then you have to think, all right, am I going to go to town hall and vote early? Do I have a mail-in ballot? If you have that mail-in ballot, you need to get that in the mail, like ASAP, or bring it to town hall now. Or you're going to think, all right, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to go to town hall. Asking people what their plan to vote is and making a plan is really, really key.
Which of my teacher friends are right about question 2?
So, I'm part of the class that I was the first class to graduate that required, having to take the MCAS. And I think the MCAS broadly, has been part of the recipe that's allowed Massachusetts to be first in the nation in education. That being said, we're really talking about a very small number of students who aren't able to pass the MCAS every year and graduate. It's a couple thousand kids. I think there should be a pathway for those students, again, if they're attending school, if they're doing other, if they're meeting other sort of criteria to get that graduation diploma from high school. I'm voting in favor of question 2. I support question 2. I think if it passes, I think we expect it to pass. We need to go back and do a little tweaking in there. Currently, as written, it says the school district can basically establish a standard. We should have an alternative, sort of a uniform alternative standard at the state level. But I think we've gone. I think test taking has had sort of a purpose and accountability. I think we've gone a little bit too far. And I think it's really important that if students are doing the work, they're putting in the time to that, they should be able to get that diploma. Right? We don't want to be foreclosing opportunity for people for the rest of their life,
right?
Just because of a test.
That's how I feel.
Wait, Harrison, are you like a very strong protest?
No. It's one of the few questions that I've thought a lot about. I didn't even know we went up to 7, so I have work to do.
But read the packet.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go next week, so I have plenty of time to read the packet and vote early.
Good. Awesome.
Thanks so much for coming in and for
You're coming back in a minute with Kevin.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm gonna come back. I think at the end we're gonna talk a little national politics. I know this is particularly an anxious time.
I know.
But it's just an honor to represent Provincetown and all the Cape and Islands. I'm so proud to be able to do this job. I'm really wanting to keep doing this work. And I also just feel so lucky to be able to live here in Provincetown, to count both of you and everyone here as right friends. I don't know. I never thought I'd be doing this. It's the coolest thing. And I get to do this fabulous, amazing job and live here, the best place in the world.
We're very proud to have you as well.
We are. We're very grateful to have you out there representing us.
All right. I'll see you in a bit. Okay.
Yeah. Let's head over to Sean with the weather.
Good morning, guys. It's finally chilly enough for me to bundle up, but what a beautiful day we have here in town. We're seeing brisk 20-mile-per-hour winds with temperatures around 50 degrees, heading up to a high of 55 today. This past week was one for the books. Classic fall days that felt more like summer. We had highs in the low 70s on Monday and Wednesday, and it was so lovely that I made it to the beach for a swim on both days. Looking ahead, tomorrow will be the nicer day of the weekend with highs around 63. However, winds will pick up in the afternoon with gusts reaching around 40 miles per hour. Temperatures will cool off for Sunday and Monday before rebounding just in time for Halloween. I'll have your full Spooky Bear forecast next Friday. Tides will be perfect for late night activities, but be sure to bundle up. It's going to be windy and chilly, especially tomorrow night. Woof. And a warm welcome to our transgender friends and allies in town for the 50th anniversary of Trans Week, formerly known as Fantasia Fair, as well as to our friends here for the 37th annual Serenity by the Sea Roundup. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. For those of you in town, I will see you at tea. Guys, back to you at the brewery.
Mark, thank you, Vivienne, for that informative weather report.
Please welcome Dallas and Erin from Trans Week to the stage.
Hi, thank you. Thank you
Happy
for having us.
50th birthday, Trans Week.
Thank you.
That's
That's
wild.
incredible.
50th anniversary. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
We are the Trans Week is actually the longest running, longest running event in Provincetown.
I know.
That's wild.
How long have you been a part of it?
I've been coming since this is my 20th year actually.
No way.
I was coming when I was 5.
Dallas?
I came in 1992, was asked to be on the board, and I really have never left.
Word, that's amazing. So for the 50th anniversary, what do we have going on?
Oh well, we had a fashion show on Wednesday for our attendees, and that was open to the town. Last night we had our open mic night, which were voices from our trans community. We're, non-binary, trans-masculine, trans-feminine. Everybody was invited, and the town was also there. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
And tonight we have the fabulous Fantasia Fair Follies, which I am the co-host of. Sorry, I
No
think I hit my
way.
microphone.
You're good.
But it is truly an amateur affair, and we put it together honestly within 24 hours. So when you come, it's just people from the trans community, and they're expressing their through spoken word, through song. We have a doctor's contingent that come every year that host a variety of workshops for couples and other trans people as well. And they'll perform a number, and it's a chance for the doctor to get silly and get really weird with it.
I love that.
I was at the fashion show Wednesday night. I try to go every year. It's one of my favorite events. And what I love the most about it, people are getting up there and telling their own personal story. And a lot of them, it's the first time they've ever set foot on a stage in clothes that they feel really represent who they are. And I mean, it takes guts to get on a stage anyway. But when you're somebody who doesn't want to be on a stage and you're feeling like just so exposed, like it was really, really heartwarming. And also, though, it's going to make me sound like a total asshole, but a fashion show isn't a competition. But of course, I was like, you're the best. You're my favorite. You killed it. You slay. And so yesterday, I saw Vanessa walking down the street. And I was like, Vanessa. I was like, you were my favorite. You totally destroyed that competition. And she's like, it's not a competition. Oh, right. But I mean, it was so much fun to be at. So
For
thank you
many
doing
of our
that.
attendees, it's the first time they've ever been out in public.
Right.
And the fact that they can be authentic for an entire week is life-changing for many people.
Also, it's difficult to get on stage, but I've been to a few of the fashion shows in the past, and the audience there is one of the friendliest audiences and most supportive audiences you can get on stage for the first time in front of.
Absolutely, yes.
It's truly one of the most unique places on earth. When I started coming to Provincetown, I hadn't come out at all. And I remember Rick Murray, who used to own the Crown and Anchor. I was walking down the street and I was feeling sad, and I had my head down, and I'll never forget it. He picked my chin up. He goes, "You look everybody in the eye. You're worthy." And then, a few years later, I transitioned, and I owe a debt to Provincetown. I really, really, truly do. And I think I don't think I could ever express how happy I am that I get to come here once a year, and I get to see my friends and my family, and it's wonderful. And I'm just so happy to be here with you guys. I watch you guys every week at home. Back in Columbus, Ohio. Yes.
Your screen name isn't Paul 240.
No.
No.
We're trying to figure out who called him out.
We won't. So, considering it's the 50th anniversary, where do you see Trans Week going into the future?
Thank you for asking that. We are actually just now at the forefront of starting. We want people to come. We want trans people to come, see your community, be with your community. We want to overrun Provincetown with trans people.
We want thousands of people to come. We've had our 6 keynotes are free. We sell inexpensive tickets to our evening events, but we really want to transition this event into something like the other themed weeks and just bring thousands of people. We don't quite know how to do it, but we changed our name in anticipation of making that happen, and we're hoping for people to just come, put on events alongside ours, and for people to just come.
I would love that. I would love to see Provincetown, just because I've said this before. The first time I was in a space with people who felt like me and felt like my community was when I was probably 18 or 19. And I always say it's one of the reasons why I love Women's Week and Mem Day is because so many women don't get that opportunity until they come. And I imagine those opportunities for trans people are even fewer and far between. And I would love to see Provincetown just full of people where they look around and they see everyone's like them.
It can be scary. It can be scary when you're trying to discover yourself. And to take that first step out is a hard step. So Provincetown provides that soft landing, and then we hope to help guide them, to help them find and discover themselves, whatever that may be.
Aside from Trans Week in Provincetown, are there other events like this anywhere else?
There are around the country. I know at least 30 trans conferences that have failed, including some that had 700 and 800 attendees. We can't have that many in our current form because of limitations of space for banquets and such. But, you know, people can come, they don't have to register, and we just hope to see great numbers of people in the future.
Congratulations.
Well,
Thank you.
I think you're going to have a fantastic end to your week.
I think so.
The weather certainly is
It's
cooperating.
been one of the best weeks I can remember in a long
Right.
time.
Yeah. Thanks, climate change.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes, thank you very much for having us
Yeah.
on. And please come tonight, 8 p.m. at the Crown and Anchor. You'll see myself and Nick Greiner as your co-hosts.
The Follies is everybody's
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
event of the
Oh, yeah.
weekend.
It'll be fun.
Usually, yeah. Have a good time today.
Break a
Thank you.
leg. Let's head over to Sam with the roundup to find everything we've got going on this next week in Provincetown.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Wake Up Weekly Roundup with me, Sam Sewell, for the week of October 25th through the 31st. Starting off on Friday, it is still Trans Week, and you can find out all the information of going on at transweek.org. Happy 50 years, Trans Week. I hope it's been a great week and an even better weekend for you. Also playing at the Water's Edge Cinema this weekend is Lee and We Live in Time. And over at the Crown and Anchor, there's going to be a Texas Hold'em tournament on Fridays. It's free to play, hosted by Butch. Get yourself over for tutorial at 6 p.m. and cards fly at 7 p.m. Then on Saturday, We Thrive with music by Peter Donnelly is happening at the Provincetown Pride Center from 3 to 5 p.m. All proceeds go to We Thrive. Then later on that night, join us for the Dead Ringers party with the Provincetown Film Society over at the Bradford. Dress up as your favorite dead movie star and enjoy a really great evening where all proceeds go to the Provincetown Film Society. Then later that night, Helltown Burlesque is still going strong. Say hi to Spooky and the crew over at the Post Office Cabaret. Also on Sunday, happening at 2 p.m. at the Water's Edge Cinema, there will be an annual community town hall meeting where they want to hear from you. They'll be focusing on ways that they can expand and improve Water's Edge Cinema and are looking for any and all feedback that you might want to give. Then on Monday, Cody Plays is back in the house over at the Gifford House on October 28th, starting at 7 p.m. And here's a lineup for all the rest of the shows coming for you with a special Christmas play on December 23rd. Also on Monday, Bob Keary is back at it for his last show, Goodnight Provincetown, over at the Post Office. If you haven't seen him before, it's a really great show with amazing guests and fun games. Go say hi to Bob Keary. Then on Tuesday, there's a Dragula viewing party, Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. over at the Wave Bar. It's drag, it's spooky, it's Dragula. Get yourself over to the Wave Bar. Then on Wednesday, the Provincetown Public Library will be showing Little Shop of Horrors at 5:30 p.m. This is free. It's a free event at the Provincetown Public Library, and it's a really good movie. And on Thursday, happy Halloween, happy Spooky Bear. Some events going on Thursday is the House of Spirit Townie Masquerade Ball over at the Gifford House starting at 9 p.m. And also, Lux Liaison is hosting Mother at 7 p.m. at the Governor Bradford. Go out and see those folks. And upcoming, we have the 6th annual Flip Cup tournament at the Provincetown Brewing Company. And for all your Spooky Bear needs, please head on over to ptown.org, where they have the full lineup of all the events going on in town for your Spooky Bear weekend. As always, if you have anything that you'd like to promote, please email me at samsoularts@gmail.com. And I hope you have a wonderful and safe and not too scary Spooky Bear weekend, everyone.
Sam, for that informative traffic report.
You're really nailing it.
Please welcome to the show our friend Kevin Mcdonald. Kevin, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Political veteran of how many years?
40 years on Capitol Hill.
Jesus.
I know.
You've seen some stuff.
I started out when I was 5.
You live in Provincetown now. How long have you been here?
I have had a house here since 2010. Yep. So, but I was here in 1983. I was down in West Harwich. I was a bartender at the Irish Pub, and then made my way to Washington right after that.
Yeah.
And worked on the House side for Congressman Conti from Western Massachusetts, where I grew up. I grew up in Western Mass, and then went to work for Frank Lautenberg from New Jersey, Senator Lautenberg from New Jersey. Started a little company called ADP, and then moved into becoming a senator from that state. And then had 33 great years with Senator Patrick Leahy from Vermont.
Wow.
Yeah.
33 years.
Yep. Unbelievable. So
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
seen a lot of changes.
I love knowing that you were a bartender at one point because Senator Sear is very fond of saying that people who do restaurant work can do anything.
Very true.
And a lot of us do, I think, end up going into politics. And what did you learn in that job that like you carried with you for the rest of your career?
That was always my softball question, was when people would come in to interview, I'd say, last question, did you ever work in the service industry? And if they worked in the service industry, they could handle politics. It was just a great way to, it was a good base to work from and then go into politics, because you dealt with so many different people on the floor as a bartender, server, whatever. And then same sort of thing kind of happened on Capitol Hill, whether it was a constituent coming in or somebody that you're working with in another office. You had to really kind of gauge what people were like. So I think the on the spot training that you got here in a bar or a restaurant was very essential for your Capitol Hill career. So it helped me, and I lasted 40 years. So
what did you do for Senator Leahy in those 33 years?
I kind of kept the trains running on time, make sure that he got to where he had to go daily, weekly, monthly. We set the schedule. He was always traveling around the country. He was chairman of the Appropriations Committee, chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and at one point chairman of the Agriculture Committee. So over that tenure that I was there, he went to so many different places to see what people were thinking and what was on their minds, and he would bring that back to DC and use that in crafting legislation for folks. So it was a great run. He's an incredible person, champion of human rights, so many causes that things got done because of his efforts. And he was old school, so he worked across the aisle and got things done that you don't see as much of that today, unfortunately. I saw a transition from my starting out in 1983 all the way to 2023, and there was just this whole shift that rather than people work together, they fought. They didn't, working together, bipartisanship became a dirty word. And it was too bad, because you could do a lot more, and the American people would, they would benefit from that, and we could get so many more projects, so many more initiatives, so much more done if folks would just decide to work together. So I miss those days when Senator Leahy was first there, and he knew how to work it. He knew, and to his credit, he stuck to his guns, and he was a champion of the people. And we need more people like him. He's a statesman, a true statesman.
Yeah, I feel like over like the change you said, it was like people decided to not work together, and recently it seems like people have decided to specifically not work together.
Exactly.
I mean, you have like Republicans voting against sending more people to the border to secure the border simply because it was written by a Democrat.
Right. Compromise is a dirty word, and I think that one of the things Vice President Harris champions is the immigration bill that was crafted by a Republican, Oklahoma Republican, who had this on the table until Trump decided to, kill it. And that would have given us more tools to fight the issue at the border.
Right.
And I think that, it's too bad that people work together and then at the last minute it got pulled. So there's a lot more of that today than in the old days when people would work together. Yeah. So it's too bad. And again, we suffer, and that's unfortunate.
And the understanding is that Trump pulled that because he wanted the problem still to exist so that he could talk about it while campaigning.
Exactly.
Running on a problem.
Yeah.
Call it.
Right. Exactly.
Rather than allowing, he speaks about it being a problem and then wanted the problem to continue. So you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, no, you could use
yeah.
that. You can use that. And what's happened is a lot of people like to jump to the front right away. When Senator Leahy came there, he was a backbencher, and he started in the, he knew his place. Everybody today wants to get out to the front right away, and they don't work towards that. So everybody's looking for the headline, looking to get that one issue, that one flamethrower, and that's too bad. I mean, it'd be better if everybody kind of did their workhorse rather than a show horse, and that's the problem. So we got too many show horses and not enough workhorses.
I love that.
Welcome back, Senator Sear. While we're on this topic, like, how do we get back to getting people to work together? I mean, you're working with these people every day.
These people.
Well, like, I'm saying, like, lots of people, not all of whom you probably agree with on everything.
So of course, and that's sort of the whole point of a representative democracy in our Constitution. First of all, I just want to say, in this business, there's a saying that I really, I think is so apt, right? You're only as good in this work as your staff, right? And Kevin's someone who, as part of this cadre of amazing, patriotic, sort of unseen Americans, right, who help our government function. And if you go to Capitol Hill, there's a lot of queer folks doing this work, right? The best staffers often, are in this community. I'd also, I think what Kevin was saying about, workhorse and a show horse is really sort of true. I think the more accurate term, or the updated term, I should say, is stunt queen, right? Which we would of course know, right? And look, you've got to be successful in today's political environment. You got to know how to pull a few stunts, right? But if you're just kind of focused on getting that attention and not doing the work, there's a real problem. I feel really grateful in Massachusetts where, look, we have a strong bipartisan tradition, even though Democrats have like super majorities in the legislature. I team up with Bruce Tarr, who's the minority leader, on fishing issues. He's a real champion of LGBTQ rights. The Cape and Islands legislative delegation is not all Democrats, and we have a real strong tradition of working in a bipartisan manner. There's only 8 of us on Beacon Hill out of the 200, right? And that I think has served us well. That's something that I cherish that example that Sarah Peak and some former state reps, Randy Hunt and Vinny DiMacedo and others sort of set. But that's really eroded, and it's eroded sort of across the country. And I think it's a real major problem. Like we are elected to these jobs to solve problems, not to get on TV.
Right. I'll give you one quick example of Senator Leahy. Violence Against Women Act, which is a big deal, VAWA, was passed only because he worked with a Republican congressman who is now chairman of the Appropriations Committee out of Oklahoma, drawing a blank. But because he went to him, the two of them were able to craft this and navigate through the complex legislative maze that you have to go through in order to get something like that done. And it was because of that the Violence Against Women Act was passed. And the groups that, when we did the signing, they all came into the office, and it was a real feel-good moment because these folks, they needed this, and to see them go around the room and tell their stories was amazing. And to see a Republican and a Democrat come together to make this happen, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
What I think it's important to remember is that for somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people elected her. Like, there are a lot of people that vote. People picked her over somebody else, and we can't just sit here and call them all stupid.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like we don't get anywhere by just assuming that everybody's an idiot just because they pick somebody that we don't like. So, like, how do you talk to those people without calling them dumb to their face?
Yeah,
They could also be racist. I gave 3 options.
But there's a perfect example of her being just out there.
Right.
Just, she just wants to grab headlines.
Right.
What has she done? Has she served her constituency? Have they gotten their Social Security checks? Have they done this? She's just all about a headline.
I think also when we sort of shift our politics from being an actual civic discourse, right, about how do we, right, the reason you have a legislature, the reason you have a Congress, right, is it's a venue to figure out tough problems where we don't have consensus, right? Mm-hmm. And we've really strayed away from that, and really I think increasingly view politics as either entertainment or this sort of contest, right? it's almost like we're watching an athletic game, right? Where the polls are and all this sort of stuff, and that's a real disservice to getting things done, right? Legislative work is constitutionally designed to be a little messy, but it also requires you to be effective, to check your ego, and to work collaboratively. And when all the incentives are, you know, if you can't get anything done, and the only way you can get attention and get reelected and raise money and get volunteers is by ginning things up, you know, in this dramatic sort of extremist fashion, it's just becoming really hard to get things done. And that's certainly true in Congress, and I think in a number of places that's true in states as well.
It's become
Less so in Massachusetts.
It's become such a business. You know, this whole, you ramp up, you get your campaign manager, you get your communications person, you get the pollsters, you get it's become such a game that, you know, you lose focus, kind of what the senator was saying, you of getting things done. It becomes so much a game of, you know, one-upmanship, and that's unfortunate. I don't think today, I mean, I'm dating myself, Eisenhower with the interstate highway system. I don't think something like that would get passed today. I mean, look what we went through to get ACA done. I mean, it was like pulling and kicking and screaming to get everybody across the finish line. And I think a big project like that had, you know, vision, that had somebody thinking about the big picture, that's so much more difficult to accomplish today than it was back then. So
we never had the national park today.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
I mean, I would say we passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which, you know, thanks to Senator Warren and Senator Martin, Congressman Keating, you know, and Governor Healy and all of us pulling in the same direction, brought $1.7 billion back to replace the Sagamore Bridge. Right. So we're still doing big things, but it's only when, you know, one party is able to have power and you're getting it through with the most narrow margins. Right. It doesn't have that sort of vision or sort of patriotic in it togetherness that Kevin was talking about. And I think that's a real disservice. One of the reasons why I love this job so much is that 9 out of 10 of the problems that I'm working on, this is not partisan stuff. Okay. Like wastewater financing, coastal resilience, you know, housing's a topic actually where, you know, folks are kind of sort of aligned sort of differently on political lines, right? I often hear some of my progressive friends sometimes saying, or liberal friends saying, you know, some things that I would consider quite NIMBY, but that kind of focus on getting things done, we've really gone away from that. And it, you know, look, as someone who's a 38-year-old state senator, it makes me have second thoughts about, you know, I kind of want to stay in many ways here in Massachusetts, and I really stay focused on the Cape and the islands because that's the work that I like to do, and I think many of us do that. And so, you know, who is not going into our federal system because they're just repulsed by what's on offer? That's a real issue too, I think, around recruitment of talent.
And we're gonna and if Trump does get back in, God forbid, the federal workforce will be decimated, I think, because people were so, the last time around, we're in the rank and file, we're just so upset, and so how can I, you know, they didn't feel joy going to work, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that happen. Should he get reelected, which won't happen.
Yeah, how are we feeling?
Yeah, let's wrap this up by saying, how are going into the next 2 weeks? How are y'all feeling?
It's difficult to read the polling and all that. I don't sleep that much at night because I worry about how close everything is, and everything is within the margin of error in the 7 battleground states, and she just needs to. She's given the amount of time that she's had to run this campaign. I think she's been great, and everything's closing close. And you know, now it's all about the ground game. You got to put your head down, focus. Pennsylvania's a big one. People can help in Pennsylvania even from up here. In all the states, you can just, you know, get out the vote efforts from hub dialer to just, you know, contacting as many folks as possible in those battleground states, and that would help. But I try not to read anything or watch anything, but I get sucked in.
like a campaign, we should remember, that started here in Provincetown, right? Which was just extraordinary to have a front row seat to that history. I think there's so much noise right now that is actually sort of not helpful, right? And let's use that metaphor of working in a restaurant, right? And you're in the middle of a rush and you're totally in the weeds. And I think right now we just need to get in the zone and stay in the zone and be doing that work, that voter contact work. You know, if you're someone who is up at night, like many of us, right? go do something. Just don't sit there scrolling and looking at these doom scrolling with these polls. I think overall, if you look at the Electoral College math, a few things need to go right for Kamala Harris, and she's going to win. She has many more options and paths to victory. Certainly the popular vote, which we know she's going to win, and then the Electoral College. For Trump to win, he needs a number of things to go his way, many more than Harris, and I think we should really take comfort in that. I was we hosted a phone bank into Pennsylvania with my good friend Brian Sims the other night. We exhausted. We had so many people calling into Pennsylvania. We exhausted the phone system. Right, we basically went through and made all those calls. So friends of mine who are on the ground who are doing this work, they're feeling good. But we've got to execute, and I think we've got to tune out that noise, execute, do that work. If you can't get to a battleground state, if you can't plug in virtually, we will put you to work here. But really, that's what wins these elections, not kind of the hand-wringing fretting.
No.
We know what could possibly be quite catastrophic for this country, but let's just focus on doing the work and electing Kamala Harris. And I think we should feel good that we've got a better ground game. We've got certainly more resources, and really we are executing and turning out the vote. These abortion ballots certainly should help, and just work right up until November 5th. And just go into that evening. You are not going to know the outcome of this election at 10 o'clock at night. We are not going to know this outcome probably for several days. We should expect challenges. This is going to be a long haul fight in actually securing the vote and getting there. So folks should have that expectation as well.
And also remember that people are going to be having election parties, gatherings, but do remember, and this happened last election too, and me, Bob, and Jonathan in DC very much fell victim to it. There is probably going to be this idea of a red mirage, which is at the end of election day, it will look like Trump is ahead because Republicans tend to vote day of as opposed to Democrats, and all of those votes are counted later. So don't despair. Yeah.
And a lot of your states, the big cities don't come in until later. So like for Virginia, they don't count the larger cities, Arlington, Fairfax, the Democratic strongholds. So Trump could be leading in that particular state up until whenever, and then it'll flip. Right. So you can't get discouraged by that. And young people and women are going to be key to Vice President Harris's her victory. I think if we get those folks out there, because they've shown that the abortion issue is a big motivator, and I think that they chose that they were right in doing that, and also highlighting how crazy Trump is and what happened on January 6th. And nobody's above the law.
It's a day of love.
Senator Leahy had the foresight to tell us not to go to work that day, and he was right, because it just was it was difficult coming back after that. It was like your home had been invaded, and for somebody to say that it was a tour, give me a break. I mean, you can't honestly look me in the eye and tell me that. So anyway, we're gonna rise from that, and we're gonna win.
Reach out to people close to you in your circles, especially younger people. Ethan, it's his first election, so we're going to make sure he figures it all out and gets there. It's things like that. Help in the smallest way you can, because those small changes can affect great change.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you all so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having us. This is my first moment of punditry. I've never just weighed in and as like a pundit before. So this could be the
from here to CNN.
Yes, or the end, the start and the end. Short pundit career. But either way, you did great. Started here on Wake Up, you boys.
Thank you all so much for coming in. I'm sure we'll probably reach out to you a couple more times over the next few weeks if we need to check in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, and good luck with your election.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to our sponsors, Shipwreck at the Brass Key, The Crown and Anchor, The Boat Slip, Provincetown Brewing Company, Provincetown Business Guild, PTV, and P-Town Tourism.
Thank you for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
And we'll see you next Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. In Provincetown.